How is the Josh? Awesome. Okay. So, do you think education is limited to classrooms or textbooks? Right answer. Education is not limited to classrooms or textbooks. In fact, the real learning happens when you go outside in the world, when you make your own decisions, when you make mistakes, and when you learn from them and grow as an individual. For me, travel has been the biggest teacher. It has transformed my life in ways which I could have not even imagined. Yeah. So travel means different things for different people. For some people, it is about bringing romance back in life. For some, it is a work obligation. For some people, it is just a thing to add excitement in their life. For me, travel is about going to offbeat places in search of untold human stories. It is about connecting with different people. So, but how did I become a person that I am today? I would just like to, go back 10 years, what I was in a person and how I changed as a person. When I started traveling solo, I was a very timid, shy person. In fact, I was stuck in my comfort zone. I would always compare myself with others and still feel inadequate. I was working 18 to 20 hours a day and still I felt useless. But there was something, one particular event that happened that changed my life. In 2014, I went on this trip to Ladakh. Thanks to Bollywood and books, Ladakh was number one destination on my bucket list. And after years and years of planning and cancelling, I finally decided to go with a tour organizer with whom I had traveled before. So the trust was also there. So on 15th August 2014, I reached Manali and I'm all excited for this trip. And then suddenly the bomb gets exploded. I am told that the trip has to be cancelled. Why? Because the group of people who were supposed to join me on this trip, they couldn't make it. And it was not financially viable for a person, for the organizer, to take me to Ladakh. So he gave me two options. He said, either you can come on a small trip with us to Chandratal, or you are on your own. In both the cases, the 100% advance that you have given is gone. It was a difficult decision for me because I had not done the search about the place, and then I didn't even have enough time. I didn't know anybody in Ladakh that time. So I thought about it, what should I do? What should I not do? The easiest decision would have been that I should have cancelled the trip like I had done earlier before. But I said, no, that's what I had been doing all my life. It is time for me to get out of my comfort zone and to see what is in store for me. And that trip actually changed my life. After that, when I visited Ladakh, I I actually saw the beauty of the place, which was beyond the rugged landscapes which I saw there. It was much more than that. The most important thing which actually struck me was the kindness of the people, how they opened up their hearts to me. They went out of their way to make me feel at home. The strangers, they helped me out. A girl who was so shy, to get out of the place. Suddenly, I was so compelled when I came back, And one thing that I realized on this trip, we go out in search of paradise. We always say, "Oh, this place looks so beautiful. It is a paradise. We must visit it." What actually makes a paradise? It is the people. It is the people who create the paradise that we find. And I at that time got such a big connection with Ladakh that it had stayed with me for a really long time. Now, since 2014, I have visited Ladakh for more than 8, 9 times, and every time I go there, I try and visit a different place, try and look for stories which people don't know about, and try in my little way to create some kind of an impact. But coming back, how this trip transformed me. When I came back, I realized that, I was a different person altogether. My confidence level has gone up, my decision making had gone up, and this trip actually gave me an opportunity. It gave me the time out of my busy schedule to zoom out and to look at life. What kind of ideal life would I want to be? What I would want my life to be? And that was the time, I realized that it's travel and untold stories that actually give me happiness. And that is how Travel See Right was formed. And that is another lesson which I learned, or rather, I have seen this, like whenever we switch on a television or we turn the newspaper pages, we are made to believe that world is an unsafe place. There are dangerous people waiting out there, who are going to take advantage of you, especially if you are a solo female traveler. But what I have seen after traveling almost 70 countries in the world is that, people would rather help you than hurt you. And we become victims when we look like victims. People go out of their way to help you out. And world is not as unsafe as it is made out to be. So another change which happened in my case was that, travel actually broke a lot of cultural stereotypes. Before I visited Serbia, I had this perception that, Serbia is dirty, the Serbian people are rude, there's not much to see. The only reason for me to visit Serbia was my favorite person, Novak Djokovic, lived there. And I wanted to see the place where this person lived. But when I had gone there, I thought that I'll probably spend a few days and then I'll move on to other country. And I wasn't carrying a very favorable, image of Serbia when I went to Serbia. And to make the matters worse, when I land there, how do I land there? I am already mugged in the night train that I was there. All my money was gone, my bags were gone. I didn't have anything when I reached Serbia, and it just happened in the overnight train when I was traveling. I must have slept for like half an hour. I'm very, very disturbed because my mobile is not working. I was out of the European Union, so my connection was not working. I didn't have money. I didn't know a single person. Language was a barrier. What do I do? And to make it worse, the receptionist, she wouldn't let me check in early. I didn't even have internet access. What am I supposed to do now? And I'm like cursing myself. Why the hell did I come here? I shouldn't have come here. I should have listened to all the reports which were there. I shouldn't have come here. And then a lady comes to me. She asks me what's going on. And I tell her, like, this is what has happened and all that. She said, I'm really sorry that you had to go through all this. If you would give me just one chance, I would like to change the image that you have about Serbia. I was thinking, man, I have already been mugged. Am I going to get killed here? What's going to happen next? But somehow I said, okay, let me try. At worst, what can happen? I said, sure. So what she did was, the next 7 days actually changed my perception about the country. So first thing what she did was, she took me out. Guys, notice this, like she actually took me out shopping. She took me out, for the spa session and everything. And she gave a very good surprise, which was she organized a special lunch for me at Novak Djokovic's restaurant. And I ate the same food which he eats. I met his family. His family usually don't meet strangers, but I had a one-to-one session with them, and there was a personal message from Novak Djokovic for me over there. And I was like, on the seventh heaven, what is this? What is happening to me? And then on top of that, she arranged this 7-day trip for me throughout Serbia. So, how did that story help me? Yeah. So I just wanted to say this, that after every setback, there is a roaring comeback. So that is one message which I got from this trip. In the 7 days that I spent in Serbia, my feelings for the country changed from initially being intrigued about it to loathing and then to loving. But later on, when I gave it time, I became more empathetic with the locals. I got time to understand their culture, their lifestyle, and my trip to Serbia actually made me realize this point. The point that I want to say is that every small effort counts. So if initially I used to think, I changed my career from a, advertising professional, getting into travel, and I thought, I don't even know how to write. I cannot write anything beyond an email or a PowerPoint presentation for my clients. What am I going to do? But during my journey, the people that I met, they actually changed my perception. They actually made me realize that it's the small drops of water that actually make an ocean. A person who moves mountains is the one who starts with small pieces of rocks, and therefore you might think that you're very small, but each and every small effort counts. And here I would like to narrate a story about one person that I met. There have been countless inspiring people, but one particular story I want to talk about. So, Uttarakhand faces a huge issue of migration. You know, I think from one out of three households, one person migrates to cities or to other places in search of better opportunities. And there are over 734 ghost villages. By ghost villages, I mean that, there are zero or less than 10 people staying in those villages. So there are no job opportunities. Some of the villages don't even have electricity, roads. And one such village I happened to visit, which is called Rawat Gaon in Uttarakhand, and it is in the Pauri district. And there I met Major Gorky. So his story is like that, he was leading a very good life. He was living in Bangalore, before that in US. But one fine day, he happened to visit his ancestral village. And what he saw was that his 200-year-old house was crumbling. There were no farms, there were no people, there was no road. Basically, his village was dying. And then he decides that he's going to shift back to his village. And to revive the village, he thought he's going to take some help from the state. So he goes there. He asks them for help. And the first help was to get a road in the village. But when he goes there, he is turned away. He's told that, sorry, but your village has too less population. It needs to have 500 people for us to get a road there. He comes back. He doesn't even get enough people to get the house made, but still, he doesn't give up. He makes the road. He restores his house. And during that process, he realizes that if he wants to bring back people in the village, if he wants to set an example to other people, he has to do something more than that. And that is when he decides about three things. He first set up a homestay. Why homestay? Because when he sets up a homestay, there are going to be people from cities, from other parts of the country who will be coming. They will generate employment for the rest of the people there. So one is that he started. Second thing is he started farming and agro business, because that will give business to the women which were staying around the other villages. And the third thing he did was all these century-old houses whose masons and architecture styles is not even practiced today. He started restoring them. So he started work on these three things. So from the time when nobody helped him, this is a photo of 2 days back. He is the chief minister of Uttarakhand. He stayed at his place. So what does this story tell us? This story tells us that no effort is small enough. Every small and big effort counts. The important part is that you need to start. Start is the most difficult part. And that is what I have actually made a mission of my life, that I want to now take such kind of stories, because stories have a huge power. Stories have immense power to change the world. And this is one thing that I have observed wherever I had gone, like in all the countries that I had visited. I have seen that every person has a story to tell, whether it is a story about their own personal struggles or triumphs, or it is a story about the history and culture of the place that I'm visiting. All the stories that I have learned, they have given me a perspective about the world and changed my how I think about the world. And stories have the power to change the life. They can inspire us, they can educate us, and they can connect us in ways that we can't even imagine. And that's why it is our duty to share stories that do not have voice. The entire social media. I'm sure when you would be looking at reels and YouTube, you would be seeing all these glossy images, like only the prettier side of life. But what counts is that the stories that do not have the voice, which are get pushed under the carpet, those stories need to be told. It is our duty to go out and find out those stories and break down the barriers and foster empathy. In the end, I just want to leave you with a message that travel is not just a way to escape your mundane life. Travel is an opportunity to learn, grow, and transform ourselves. So let's do one thing. Let's, get away from the collection of exotic destinations and beautiful landscape. Travel is a tapestry of human connections and experiences and stories. I would urge all of you to get out of your comfort zone and go out and find out these stories, even if it means visiting your nearby places, even if it means trying a new dish, even if it means having a conversation with a stranger who doesn't share the same background as you do. Let's all show our commitments toward storytelling. Let's become ambassadors of change. Stories can change the world. Let's do that. Stories, let's change the narrative from fear and division to empathy and connection. Let's change the world with one story at a time. Thank you.